Legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed. Breathing in through our noses and out through our mouth. Bringing our energy in control, our thoughts in control. At any given moment in time, we take control of our breathing. We take control of our thoughts. So right now, let's see ourselves. Let's see it in our minds so clearly that it feels real. Let's see ourselves doing the best we can on all the exercises and stretches and movements we do today together. Feel the power of that determination, your determination, your power to determine, to take control of your breathing, your mind, your body, and your life. It's the same power we can use to control our destiny, our future. See, you are so powerful, you get to go into the future. You get to see in your mind what you want to bring out into the world and make real. Right here, right now, in the present, the greatest gift we have, always. So let's go, determination. Let's go. Determine. See it in your mind. Don't choose and lose. Determine and win. See it in your mind. Yourself doing the best you can, not just here and now, but always in the gym of life. You grow your mind all the time. Alright, good morning, determination. Here we are, another day. We get to work on our minds and our bodies together, right here, right now. What a day it is. I don't know where you are right now, if you're inside your own home, or if you're outdoors, wherever you are. Feel the power of everything around us. Feel the power of you, right here, right now, together, united, through this time we have. So let's go, everybody. When I say go, we're going to start with our usual jog on the spot, or you can walk on the spot, but whatever you do, always do it to the best of your ability. So here we go. Ready, and go. Enjoy every moment, every time you move your body, every time you work on your body. You're working on your mind too. See, you're the boss. You're the boss of your mind and your body, not the other way around. And we prove it every time we take control of our breathing. We feel that power of us, the real us, our determination. Determining to stay here and now and do the best we can with whatever we got right here, right now. Almost there, everyone. Almost there. And walk again. All right. Just gonna walk side to side. You can walk on the spot. Take control of your. Feel that power of you, the real you, taking charge of your breathing right here, right now. Isn't it amazing? Feel that power. That's you. That's all of us. That's everything together as one. Alright everyone, here we go. Determination. Let's do our stretches. First we'll do shoulder rolls, 10 forward. Here we go. Ready? And go. 10 forward, and then we'll go backwards. Okay, backwards, 10 backwards. Roll your shoulders all the way up and around. Always do the best you can, just focusing on the here and now, right now. Feeling the power of all of us united together in this moment. Growing our minds and our bodies. Alright, let's do arm circles forward. Feel that joy of moving your arms through space. Unbelievable. What a day. Wherever you are. No matter what the weather is, no matter whether you're indoors, outdoors, enjoy this moment fully. And backwards. There's no greater joy in working on ourselves, growing our minds and our bodies all the time to be the best we can be, no matter what. Alright, hands on your hips, bend your knees, and side stretches. Doing 5 on each side. Alright, good, and let's do twists. 5 on each side again, feet flat on the floor. Let's do 5 push-ups. Do your best. If you have to bring your knees down on the floor, that's okay. Alright, let's do 5 sit-ups. Wow, what a day. What a moment. What a life. Alright, and stand up. And let's do 5 squats. Here we go. That's 5 squats. All the way down, all the way up, feet flat on the floor, looking straight ahead. Good, let's do lunges now, 3 on each side. Forget your breathing. Control your breathing. Good, alright, 10-second plank, belly's knees off the ground. Hold it for 10 seconds. And come on up again, everyone. And let's reach for the sky or the ceiling, wherever we are. Here we go. On your toes. Reach. Hold it for 10. Okay, now reach for your toes. Straight knees. Here we go. That joy of you striving, reaching safely, without hurting yourself. Alright, good. And let's grab one leg.
Rockets in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. Yeah. And we gon' make you lose your mind. Woo. Everybody just have a good time. Party rockets in the house tonight. Oh. Everybody just have a good time. I can feel it. And we gon' make you lose your mind. Yeah. We just wanna see you shake that.
shorty moving weight like she on the block. With a Drake, I got to know. Top jeans tattoo, cause I'm rock, raw. Half black, half white, diamond now. Gang of money, open up.
Yo, I'm running through these halls like Drano. I got that devilish flow, rock and roll, no halo. We party rock. Yeah, that's the crew that I'm repping on a rise to the top. No lead in our Zeppelin. Hey,
Party rock is in the house tonight. Woo! Everybody just have a good time.
yeah.
And we gon' make you lose your mind. Everybody just have a good time.
Let's go.
Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time.
Feel it,
And we
baby.
gon' make you lose your mind. We just wanna see you.
Shake that.
Hits it long, the defence has gone AWOL. It's Lionel Messi with a free run to go. Is this a formality? Messi, oh yes he gets it. Iniesta.
Morning, guys. Today, Conor McGregor shares with us another piece of advice that will help every single day of our lives. And that is live every day like a champion. And this, I think, is where perhaps Conor McGregor is often misunderstood. I could be wrong, but he would think and live like a champion every single day, even before he became a champion in the UFC. And I think, you know, some people might view that as being arrogant, confident, and view it in a negative fashion. But this man was simply using the most powerful thing in the world, our thoughts, his thoughts, to manifest and eventually become a champion. But he lived like a champion and still lives like a champion. How can we apply this today in our life? Whatever you're doing, even the most simplest thing, your job, live like a champion at that and watch what happens to your results. Have a good morning, everyone.
Most cryptocurrencies are not necessarily transactional coins. They're meant to give people an ability to create and build applications
and decentralized applications that kind of add a level of functionality above currency. Transactional coin isn't necessarily what the game is. The kind of limits on what we'll be able to do with currency, you know, it's hard to kind of explain them, partially because we have no real conception for what this might look like. So if you look at like people thinking about what the internet might look like, you know, you can't really kind of predict how it's going to look in a couple years because of it opens up markets that we've never even seen before. And so that's kind of what, you know, the level of smart contracts and kind of that functionality of crypto is something that's pretty, you know, game changing. We haven't even seen anything like it before. So we have to kind of wait. If you kind of stack a bunch of good news, cryptocurrency news in a couple weeks, the price starts to build a couple good days, then you kind of have the hype machine start going and you have liquidity cycles where the price is going to skyrocket and triple and do all these different things. And then once it kind of reaches the limits of what the infrastructure can hold, then it'll create a crypto winter. And that cycle kind of happens over and over again until the architecture gets built out, in which case I think we kind of stay in that market.
Money Revealed is an exclusive video series where self-made millionaires share their secrets on how they got rich. In this episode, you'll learn how to invest in cryptocurrencies, think like a modern investor, and what blockchain technology's future is. These are the lessons that they don't teach you in school about making money. And we've partnered with the series creator Jeff Hayes to bring it to you on my YouTube channel. Enjoy.
Cryptocurrency. Something you can't avoid today, at least knowing and understanding. Personally, I've recently gotten into crypto. It's a part of what I put my investments into. It's a mysterious place if you don't understand it. And when I heard I was going to interview a very young guy named Jordan Abdallah, I was like, should I get somebody who's got, you know, a little bit more gray hair and a little more experience around this? And I couldn't have been more wrong. Jordan is an unusual genius, young kid who really understands the world of crypto and can explain it in ways that bring it to life. It was such a great interview and such a pleasant surprise for me, and now I get to share it with you. So enjoy this interview. Jordan, thanks for spending some time today. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. It's great to be here.
What excited you about cryptocurrency? I mean, why this sudden drive? What do you see?
So I think kind of as a little bit of background, I was a very into public forum debate in high school. Kind of the captain of the debate team, and so I have a strong passion to kind of understand things that I don't quite understand at first. So that's kind of how it started. It just kind of started with doing research for fun and to kind of understand and get a grip of all of it. And then also my family is kind of a very finance-oriented family. My parents met on Wall Street, so kind of once I got a little bit deeper into it, I started to understand this is really something that's revolutionary. It's not just some fad, basically.
Well, so you think it's revolutionary. What are the views of your parents? Do they share your opinions about this, or do they think you're chasing something that's a fantasy?
So I think my dad's very much on the same page as me. We've kind of spent, and my brother to some extent too, although he's more interested in kind of the gambling aspects of Bitcoin.
So he's speculating around.
Yeah, so he's more interested in kind of online gambling with it and that kind of stuff. But my parents are both kind of very supportive, both of me and of the space, I think.
So do you feel like this is a fad? This is something that is going to have some staying power and is going to evolve? How do you see this all emerging?
So that's a good question. I think just kind of from my perspective, I think once kind of a revolutionary idea is out there in the capital market, there's not much you can do about it. I think the more you see opportunities for variation, for people kind of contributing and putting things forward in the space, kind of inventing and revolutionizing all the time, that's the kind of space that crypto is very conducive to, because everything is open source. And there's a very, very strong brain drain toward the space, kind of from traditional finance, from entrepreneurs. You kind of see a bunch of these people moving toward the space. And one of the things that is really interesting about crypto is there's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy type model going on, where not only is it extremely exciting technology, not only are we seeing really, really exciting early markets, but also it's so exciting that it's bringing a good majority of the smart, the smartest people in coding and in finance that are coming up, that are kind of very much focused on kind of the space. People more in my generation and kind of the generations around me are very, very much understanding that this is kind of the future. So I think it has to do with the fact that people that are growing up now are less used to a traditional banking model, and so you have a huge opportunity to kind of revolutionize what people think of as customary.
Back when Bitcoin was maybe at 300, yeah, you're laughing. So I was talking to some friends of mine who had acquired some, and they're very tech-oriented guys, and somebody who built and ran a technology company, so I had some background, right. and I wasn't tech-phobic, so to speak, but but I loved what it represented as far as the non-government controlled currency and what it could do in the world. I saw it pretty quickly that this could be really cool. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go and just buy a chunk. Number one, I just want to support it. Number two, I think it might go somewhere. And I remember going in, and it was so difficult for me to try to navigate the acquisition of Bitcoin that I'm sort of saying, if I'm someone who's kind of somewhat tech-oriented, and to me, I'm having a difficult time figuring out, okay, well, how do you get it? How do you secure it? How do you put it in a wallet? What do you do with it? It's got to be so complicated. And in my busy CEO life, it was like, if I'm having this much problem, I can't imagine a bunch of other people are going to do this. So I think what you're saying is that the infrastructure now is being built out to make that much more efficient.
Yeah, so I think if you look at kind of the early market solutions to problems like custodianship and all those things, you have Trezor, you have Ledger, you've got kind of a bunch of what are cold storage wallets that are pretty effective, but you can't. Someone like Goldman Sachs isn't going to be holding a Trezor. Like that doesn't quite track. So you've kind of been hearing people say that institutional money is headed into the space since late 2017. People have been really, really focused on that, and I think what you see is that is still probably at least a year away.
Right.
And I think people kind of want to jump the gun on that, but kind of the more know your customer paperwork and all that stuff gets kind of more digitally logged, kind of hopefully on the blockchain, it'll be kind of more seamless to onboard people onto things like Coinbase, and again, also I think part of it has to do with public perception, right? So the fact that these websites can crash if you know you have too much spike in daily users is pretty ridiculous. I mean, it's like something like E-Trade would never crash if the market was somewhat volatile. So you have to have things like that kind of get hammered out before you can really expect any type of mainstream adoption.
So I know this would be a speculative answer on your part, but do you believe that there'll be a surge again of value in cryptocurrency once this infrastructure starts to make it more consumer friendly?
I mean, generally the answer is yes. I think, if for me, Bitcoin is a store of value. Now, a store of value has to be, it can't be this volatile. So I guess right now it's more of a theoretical store of value, and I guess we'll see kind of if it can hedge against the markets in the next few years, and we'll see, kind of how the utility of that evolves. But if it is a store of value, and that is a fairly big if. But if it is a store of value, and I think part of what store of value means is that it has the momentum of human history on its side. If Bitcoin is digital gold, which is kind of the moniker that everyone seems to give it, that would make it a store of value utility, or a store of value, which is not really possible when it's this volatile. So we'll kind of see how that unfolds the next few years. But if it is a store of value, and if it is the next generation of store of value, then the nominal price of a single Bitcoin is theoretically infinite, right? Because if it's a store of value, then that means there's no real upside in kind of no upside cap in how high the price can go. Now, cryptocurrency in general, I think the market will swing back in a big way. Bitcoin is more of a question mark, just because people are still wondering. There's still questions about velocity. The proof of work system is not the most eco-friendly and might not be the one that has the most success long term. But from what the market looks like right now, I would say that it's Bitcoin at 7,000 is a pretty good bet. Yeah.
So now, interesting, because you keep referring to Bitcoin, but there are hundreds, I think, at this point, cryptocurrencies
thousands,
out there, and thousands. Okay, so they're not all. Most of them are going to have to wash out, and there's going to be, I guess, a few that are left. Is that the way that most people feel about it?
Yeah. So I think kind of what you're going to see is people like to refer to the market as the Wild Wild West, and that's a very, very accurate representation, I think. You might see 80% of these projects go to nothing, and obviously that's something that's been kind of happening in the space over the last few years. I mean, if you look at kind of the top 10 coins from 2012, you won't see most of those names.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, like, you look at some of the first ICOs, the first kind of big coins. Like you look at things like Namecoin, Filecoin. Those aren't as big anymore. And so there is kind of some the utility coins that don't have a clear utility. Or that have kind of any SEC gray area clarity will be shut down most likely. And so the interesting thing you have to think about with the SEC is they kind of talk about the level of decentralization a project can have. And this is kind of the idea that the issuer of a token could issue a security because it might be overly centralized kind of in the beginning duration. So this is what lockups are oftentimes trying to prevent, is that if the utility function is going by the time the lockup ends, then it's not really a speculative investment, right? It's a consumptive use case. So a lot of tokens that are kind of have tried to go down this utility token ERC20 path. One, they depend on the Ethereum network kind of figuring out how to scale pretty quickly, which is still kind of an if. And so yeah, a lot of these projects could kind of be wiped out, and there is still incredibly risky space, but there's a lot of promise.
In the end, this only has value if people are going to start using it, right? I mean, so how important is the role of vendors starting to accept cryptocurrencies as payment? I know that I think Overstock.com was for the first one to say, hey, you can pay us in Bitcoin. I think Tesla, you can buy Tesla in Bitcoin now. So it's starting to creep out there a little bit. But how much of the bet on this is dependent upon the fact that people will trade goods and services?
Balance. Bend the other knee if you have to. Again, feel the power of you controlling, finding your balance. Thinking about what you're doing right now. Always adjusting, readjusting, adapting until you find that balance, that peace. Alright, and let's switch now. 10 seconds on the other side. Okay, again, find your balance and hold it. Pull that leg back. Bend the knee if you have to. Feel the stretch on the front of the thigh. Not the pain, just the stretch, the little pull. Alright, and let's hug our knee, the other knee. Here we go. Bring it right up again, finding that balance. If you lose that balance, you just get right back. Get it right back and keep going. Adjusting, thinking, never giving up, no matter what. There we go. All right, and switch to the other side. Slowly bring it up. Pull that leg all the way up. Hug that knee. Excellent. Okay, let's sit down and reach for our toes, straight knees. Here we go. Reach. Again, it doesn't matter if you touch your toes. What matters is the reaching, the striving, the pushing, the working hard without hurting ourselves. That's the joy. That's the pure joy we have to experience every morning. Striving to be better selves, true, great selves. Okay, V-shape with your legs and reach for the floor as far as you can. Away from your body. And you should feel a pull on the inside of your inner thighs. Not pain, just a pull. And reach for one side, hold it there. And switch to the other side. Always thinking about your breathing. Okay, and feet together. Gently push your knees down with your elbows and hold it for 10. I love you, son. I love you, everyone. I love you, double I, infinite intelligence. We are infinitely intelligent, all of us. All right, one leg forward, one leg back. Keep that knee on the ground. Go as far back as you can. Feel the power of the peace of this moment on you, working your mind and body. And switch the other side. There's nothing that can take this away from you. Right here, right now. Your presence is your greatest gift. Okay, and let's roll onto our bellies and push the floor or the ground and look up at the sky or ceiling. Here we go. Awesome. Great work, everyone. And legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed. Taking control of our breathing, like we take control of our minds. Doing what we were born to do. Win control of our minds. Now see yourself today when that music goes on. See yourself doing the best on any exercise you choose. Something you want to get better at, whatever it is. For me today, I'm going to be working on doing as many push-ups as I can for one song, right to the end of the song, and as many air squats in the other song for as long as I can until the song's over. How about you? You can do the same thing as me if you like, but whatever you do, whatever exercise movement you do, see it in your mind, see yourself safely doing it within the space you have, wherever you are right now. See yourself doing a little bit better than you did last time on that particular exercise, or dance, or movement, whatever it is. See it in your mind right now, as I do the same. That music goes on. We're going to make it real. We're going to win. We're going to bring our vision to life. That's your determination. That's why we are determination. We determine, we see it in our minds, and we do it. We make it real in our lives. All right, let's go. Determination, let's go. Here I go. As many push-ups as I can do within the song, this song. If you don't like this music, you can put on your own music. Music changes your energy, brings you to your true state of joy and happiness. So here we go. Let's go. Determination, let's do this. Loving the process, striving to be better than last time. Doing the best we can with what we got. That's determination. Song's not over. Get back at it again. Deep breaths. When I'm breathing, recharge. Here we go. Sometimes I like to do this is for the duration of the song, do as many reps as I can on a certain exercise. I just keep going until the song's over. It's one way to do it, to measure yourself and see, compare it from last time to the next time. Whatever it is you're doing, same thing. There we go. Song's not over, I'm gonna keep going. It's a great determination. You don't stop, you keep going. Squeeze out a few more here before the sun goes. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep going. Keep going. Whatever exercise you're doing. Out of my effort. At that point where you think you got one more, there's always a little bit more. Let's keep going, everybody. Keep going. The song's not over. The song, the music inside us is never over. Bring it out. Let's move. My music is determination. I share it with you all the time. What's yours? Bring it out. There's something in you. Something great. I would say it's simply you. The real you. Bring it out all the time. Here it is.
Are you ready to bubble? Everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, bubbling, everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 bubbling, dance all night, we go dance all night. Yo, are you ready to bubble? Dance all night, we go dance all night. Ha ha, we want to see ya. Dance all night, we go dance all night. Dance all, dance all, dance all, dance. All right, y'all. Are you ready to bubble? Bubbling, everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, bubbling, everybody bubbling, little bubble, bubble, bubbling, bubbling, everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, everybody bubble, bubble, bubbling, 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 everybody bubbling, little bubble, bubbling, yo. Bubbly, 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 bum bum bum, 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 bubbly, 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 bum bubble, bubble, bubble. All right, make way when you see me pass through, and they come with me too. You don't know what to do. Drinks up, hands up, everything in the air. Everybody done done. There's a party over here. That's right. We drink just bubbling. Watch how we wine while the DJ juggling. He got the whole dance floor just bubbling. Champagne bottles just popping. We going on night just to make it not stop. This party hard tonight, so going non-stop until the sunlight. We going non-stop until the sunlight. The club done full, only woman inside. It's a good night to get we head tight. It's a good night to get we head tight. Couple up this party going for a flight. Green drinks, we don't care. We go down.
Hooked into Sergio and Messi. Sloan have missed.
Good afternoon, guys. How are you doing today? How is living your life like a champion going? Have you been perhaps defeated? Have you been in a situation where it hasn't gone your way? Are there thoughts in your head right now where they are not serving you because you're not thinking like a champion and therefore not living like a champion? Well, I want to remind you, again, use the two most powerful tools you have right now. That is your belief in yourself and your determination to not give up on living, but first of all, thinking like a champion. So get back at it again today, wherever you are. Start to think and fill your mind with thoughts of you being a champion human being, because that's something that is ongoing. So right now, think about how you can change your mind to think as a champion of a human being. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
So I think it's actually a smaller part of the bet than people think. So I'd say most cryptocurrencies are not necessarily transactional coins. They're meant to give people an ability to create and build applications and decentralized applications that kind of add a level of functionality above currency. And so kind of as people understand what the use cases and what the limits of them are, that's kind of what's going to drive adoption, as opposed to using Bitcoin instead of a credit card at a store. I mean, that's not that game changing, right? That's just instead of credit, which is already kind of an abstract value, Bitcoin is a similar thing. And it's better because it's more subdivisible and it's fungible. Might not be quicker now, but I'd say that transactional coin isn't necessarily what the game is. The kind of limits on what we'll be able to do with currency, it's hard to kind of explain them, partially because we have no real conception for what this might look like. So if you look at like people thinking about what the internet might look like, you can't really kind of predict how it's going to look in a couple years because of it opens up markets that we've never even seen before. And so that's kind of what, the level of smart contracts and kind of that functionality of crypto is something that's pretty, game changing. We haven't even seen anything like it before. So we have to kind of wait and kind of see what the real driver of adoption is. But I think it's going to be that one, killer dApp, as like people like to say, one application that really onboards people well, and that'll work. And I also think that it kind of runs in cycles of liquidity. So if you kind of stack a bunch of good news, cryptocurrency news in a couple weeks, the price starts to build a couple good days, then you kind of have the hype machine start going, and you have liquidity cycles where the price is going to skyrocket and triple and do all these different things. And then once it kind of reaches the limits of what the infrastructure can hold, then it'll create a crypto winter. And that cycle kind of happens over and over again until the architecture gets built out, in which case I think we kind of stay in that market.
So this is interesting because you're referring to it as crypto, but some of these applications are blockchain, not necessarily
Right. Yeah.
currency based, as far
True.
as the crypto
Yeah.
itself. So how do you separate those two things in your mind?
So when I say crypto, I kind of mean a crypto asset more generally. So a blockchain token or a token that corresponds to a blockchain, the vast majority of them are essentially utility tokens or secure.
What do you mean by utility token?
So a utility token is essentially a token whose value and price should come from access to the network or functionality on the network, the blockchain.
Right.
As opposed to a security token, which is just a tokenized security. So, if I buy a token that gives me access to a REIT portfolio or something like that, that's, essentially just a security, just with wider liquidity base. So I think, security tokens.
So the security token you're saying is backed by
Right,
some asset. It's not just the
Right.
the thing that's inherent. That's digital gold.
Yeah.
It's saying you referred to a real estate investment trust saying, hey, this currency or this cryptocurrency is backed by actual assets in a place,
Right.
And basically the value of those assets will reflect the value of this currency.
So they kind of have a couple gold mines are ICOing under a security token. So you get access to the underlying value of the gold, which I don't see as super groundbreaking. But security tokens do offer people that have never had access to markets really financial liquidity, because it's very easy to set up a wallet, and it will get a lot easier too. So that's kind of what people don't understand, is that things that are extremely hard to do in niche markets become less hard as they're more traditional markets.
What I see, and tell me if you think I'm right or wrong in this, is that in third world countries, especially like say sub-Saharan Africa,
Right.
and all these countries where you've got very fragile or corrupt governments, that have their own currency, but the currency
Right.
of that country is something that is very kindly undependable. So now, basically, if you're an entrepreneur in that country and you'd say, geez, I'd like to be able to trade in something other than my country's currency, because I could work for 15 years, I can build some
Right.
wealth, the next thing you know, it could be squandered, something completely independent of me. So it brings, I think, the world to the marketplace where government-controlled currencies can't. Does that seem like an accurate aspect of this?
Yeah, so I think we're kind of seeing the world move to a more borderless global marketplace and network. But the place where that really doesn't exist is third world countries. I think people kind of forget that a lot of the technology that's going on there is either stuck far behind or has leapfrogged. So kind of with the example of telephones, they kind of skipped landlines and went entirely to kind of handheld. So the analogous situation would be that there is no banking infrastructure in the vast majority of the third world, and so that's one of the biggest issues. And I think that's a pain point that crypto projects are really going after. There's a lot of decentralized banks and banking applications that are going to basically attempt to give financial services to those kind of populations, and those are also really exciting projects. But I also think that you see a premium being placed on the price of cryptocurrencies in markets where the government is not responsible actors or not reliable actors. So I think in Zimbabwe at one point the price of one Bitcoin was like above 11,000, which was like a $4,000 premium above the price of Bitcoin, because like you said, there's such a need to have a reliable, borderless, source of.
But how? So you're saying that if you're in Zimbabwe, which is one of those countries that has currency issues and has a history of them, you're saying that they would have to pay much more for a Bitcoin than somebody in the United States? I thought
So basically, the way it works is if I want to buy Bitcoin, there's a couple of things I can do. I can buy it off of a friend or a person I know in person, which would not require an exchange, would not require any of those things. It's kind of more the kind of a Craigslist equivalent of such kind of I'll give you my Bitcoins, you give me whatever. And the other thing you can do is you can go on an exchange, something like Shapeshift or Changely, which is websites that basically do you don't have to create a KYC profile for those. But the difference is that some of the exchanges and some of the places you can only access from certain VPNs or certain geolocations. So there's some fencing and barriers kind of along the getting access to exchanges, and so that's very hard to do.
But if I'm in Zimbabwe and I have an internet connection, I can't just set up a.
So you can set up a node. I mean, you can mine. You can do a lot of things to acquire Bitcoin, but there are also situations where you just want to be trading from local currency, local fiat to Bitcoin, and that exchange rate is going to be.
I see what's happening because
because more people are willing to pay a higher percentage for. It's basically a representation of distrust in the government. So it's exactly what you're saying. I think, and I'm not sure Zimbabwe is even the exact country, but So your point is very accurate. Like there are too many borders. One, and so to have like a full global market, you pretty much have to have a system that kind of matches up with that, which fiat really doesn't.
So it's very interesting to me because I look at what it would mean to the world to unleash all these entrepreneurs who just have no path. I mean, there is such a thing as people who don't have any opportunity because of the barriers that are in front of them. And being able to say that we're going to remove these barriers and bring this many more people to a marketplace that can contribute to it, I think it is almost unfathomable about what might happen, like you say about the internet. Like we can't even know what that means. It's an unprecedented thing.
And I think
break before we get to air squats. Song's almost over. Alright, here we go for air squats. Next song's about to begin. Always remembering our breathing. How hard things are getting with our body. I love it. I love working on my determination every day. I would love nothing more than for you to continue always determining to do your best in everything you do. Not just exercising your body, but exercising your mind. As we do this, push our body, we also push our minds to become our true great self. Burning my leg. Alright, stopping the way. Song's not over. Gotta keep going. Deep breath. Here we go. How about you? Keep going. Keep using your determination. Whatever you're doing, you're dancing, you're doing your own exercise, your own push-ups, your squats, whatever. You're following me, let's go. Keep going. Here we go. Song's not over. Music's not done. Your music, your true energy is never done. No matter what. going. Keep good form. Stay safe as you get tired. Make sure. Always remember, control your mind in the heat of controlling your body. We may not get to where we want to go today, but we're going to keep going. That's the joy. That's the process. That's the real you that keeps going. Always trying to get better, no matter what. Song's not over. I gotta get better. I gotta keep going. Here we go. You too, wherever you are. Come on, let's go. Determination. Let's go. Bring it up. Bring it up. All right. Well done.
Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo para dar la alegría cosa buena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo para dar la alegría cosa buena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo para dar la alegría cosa buena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo para dar la alegría cosa buena. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena.
Four penalties this season. Messi has missed three. Reminder that Luis Enrique.
Good evening, guys. How did it go today? Was there a time where you lived and felt like a champion today? Even one moment? Well, hopefully there was, but if there wasn't, again, the mark of a champion, and especially a champion human being, is getting back up, getting back in there, going back to that time and that opportunity, and thinking how you can respond better. And so, for me, this has been the theme of my life, and I'm sure many people. We're always getting defeated. We're always getting knocked down. We're always making mistakes. But the thing that drives me is the thought that I want to be a champion, and I'm starting to think like one, and I want you to as well. The fact that we can work on the most powerful thing in the world, our thoughts, which is the same for everyone, makes us champions already. So let's live it forever. Have a great evening, everyone.
You know, along with that goes the fact that, you know, not only the people that are going to be using this is kind of anyone, but if you look at kind of the revolution we've had in fundraising, in access to projects, and access to doing ICOs, I mean, that is, in my opinion, you know, also very, very revolutionary. I mean, if you think about the fact that as opposed to, you know, having to give away a good amount of equity, having to basically, you know, cave into the demands of whatever VC you decide to go with on your series, and then at the same point, they like, you know, you'll get very, very small increments of money. I mean, there's a lot of downsides, and it's very, very difficult to raise money the traditional way. And then you look at the crowdfunding model, which, you know, ICOs have raised, I don't even know what the number is, but it's, you know, an incredible amount of money in the last 3 years alone. And there's kind of more technology being built out around it. There's a couple ICOs which are actually planning on kind of doing a hybrid model between the two, where you have a smart contract that'll kind of release money over time as opposed to just kind of giving some money. But the entire space is kind of designed around an open source network where pretty much anyone has access to funds, has access to coding. I mean, people can build projects in their basement, quite literally, which is why so many more revolutionary projects are coming from this. It's that you're empowering everyone to really anyone who can build on the protocols are doing it.
So interesting, because something just comes to mind as you're describing some of this. If I am a small government, especially if I'm a dictator of a government, I could probably set up all kinds of server farms to start mining Bitcoin and saying, hey, I'm gonna confiscate a bunch of wealth from my country, and I'm gonna get warehouses full of computers starting to mine Bitcoin. Is that going on at all?
Yeah. So the idea of centralization of the network through kind of collecting a high amount of computing power is a real issue, especially one in the Bitcoin community, more so than the cryptocurrency community in general, just because that is kind of the most ideologically dividing topic, I think. But so kind of what you're seeing is a couple of countries for sure both profit off Bitcoin and also and also all cryptocurrencies, and also confiscate them quite frequently. From random, laundering or kind of whatever they find, they keep those Bitcoins. And so, some governments, some dictatorial governments have large stashes of Bitcoin, but really not enough to be substantial. And I think the vast majority of them have basically sell them off. So like the United States government, they have auctions for the Bitcoin. And in the very beginning, there was huge arbitrage on those, but eventually people started to realize that's what's going on, and the OTC over-the-counter desks started buying all the Bitcoin. So a lot of it will go back into circulation. Some of it won't. That's just kind of the name, part of the game. I think that one of the biggest issues with governments, and one of the ways this could get derailed, is that if you kind of have a partial revolution where currency just becomes a token that is statewide, something like what you see happen in Russia. They basically just made, or in Venezuela right now, basically with petrol. Those are essentially border confined tokens. I mean, they're not literally confined, but they are essentially backed by the government, created by the government. It's not really the same vision as it's
another government currency as compared to something that's in a
it's
free
not
market.
The people's currency,
right?
Basically.
And that's kind of the interesting thing. So what I'm very curious about, and I think you've stated it in some ways, but maybe we can dig a little deeper, is how does someone from your generation start to view this, and what's the feeling or the spirit of it compared to somebody from a much older generation like me, who said, I grew up in a different way, pre-internet, all that stuff, watch the internet unfold, etc. But if somebody when I was your age said, one day in your future there's going to be currency in the world that's not controlled by any government, and it's not controlled by banks, it's decentralized, there's no broker in the middle of every transaction, it would have been some sort of a science fiction thing, and here we are in it. So I'm looking back on it with but I have filters on because of how I grew up. You're basically born into this.
Right.
So when you are around your friends, your other classmates, and other people that are in your generation in this industry, what is the conversation like?
So the conversation's very interesting. I'd say that if not a good base understanding, I'd say the majority of people that I meet kind of around my age at least know about cryptocurrency, have some general idea of what it is, and have a lot of them have had experience interacting with it in the past. Maybe that's for things that aren't, necessarily what it's going to be used for in the future, but
not that legal,
right? Might be, fake IDs is probably the biggest way most people know about Bitcoin and that kind of stuff. So I get a lot of those messages.
This is interesting. So see, I'm learning something here. So you're saying things like and that's the whole point. What's somebody who's 19 years old interested in an ID that says I'm 21? How do you get that? Well, I got there's nefarious characters that will trade cryptocurrency.
So the thing about crypto and on the blockchain and all this stuff is that it's completely immutable. So something that I do on the blockchain, this is what I tell my friends, is some transaction you make, your private keys can be dehashed at some point, and it can be people can figure out who it was, if they have enough computing power and have enough time on their hands. So any transaction that is nefarious on the blockchain has a history that it will stay there forever. So it's not necessarily an issue of the whole connotation of illegality that's going on in the blockchain is not really true. I mean, the percentage of crimes that's kind of occurs through crypto is much smaller than cash or credit.
I'm sure, but now you're bringing up another issue, because this is kind of interesting, because basically transactions are in the ledger, everybody's got it, and it's a permanent record, right? As you said, I think you referred to it as immutable. Yeah. It's a permanent record, right? I guess, what are the privacy issues relative to the transactions you make with your cryptocurrency?
So if you follow some basic kind of trading behavior, it's very difficult to kind of find anything like that. And also, Bitcoin is a public ledger. It's an open source. Like you could see it, we could scan it, we could see the log. It's very different from something like Monero or Zcash, kind of more grayscale technology that kind of hides your traces a lot better. And there are very much privacy centric coins. Bitcoin is not one of them. Bitcoin is very much a public ledger. So theoretically, if someone has your address, they have your private keys, they can they have access to your Bitcoins. They can see how many Bitcoins you have, and they can do that by checking your wallet. I mean,
But you're not a name. You're basically a sequence of numbers.
But if one of the problems with metadata is that metadata is gonna get very good. So if you have someone who transacts in a certain place or a certain website, constantly, things like that, you just don't necessarily want to be involved in any nefarious transactions that are going to be held forever. Just because that doesn't, it's not a good setup.
Well, it's very interesting to consider. But there's other things that are maybe I don't know if I'd call them gray, but they're going to challenge the legal system.
Definitely,
because as the borders come down, transactions can occur, and where a buyer is from a regulatory or legal standpoint, and where the seller is from similar standpoint, they might have different rules and different laws in place.
Right.
And now they're transacting, and is somebody selling something? Well, it's kind of legal for me to sell this to you, but you're not in a place where it's legal for you really to kind of purchase it. And so there's going to be, I think, some things that emerge that are going to really have to cause laws to be rewritten.
Yeah, so the exact dilemma you're talking about is one that is happening in the ICO market right now. So the SEC is harder to deal with than the countries like Malta.
Right.
So ICO projects you find them more and more going over to Asia for money, and the reason being that they have way less strict investor laws. And so, a lot of ICO projects, especially more recently, just will not allow U.S. customers to take part in the ICO because it's too much to deal with on the SEC. And if it gets determined to be a security, then there's just like a ton of kind of gray area you don't necessarily want to be playing around in. So yeah, a lot of the ICO projects don't accept U.S. customers.
At all, even after they're launched?
No. Once they're launched after ICO, then you can trade them.
Now I get it. So, and isn't that... This is bringing to light, I think, a generalized understanding of how regulation oppresses capitalism and capitalist markets. Is saying that, like exactly what you're saying. Hey, I've got something I want to bring to a marketplace. How do and it's walking the line, like the SEC saying, well, we have to protect consumers,
right?
But at the same time, we don't want to constrict things so much that we stall the market because nobody can do anything. But if I'm doing an ICO, I'm not going the cost and the time and everything else to try to comply with the SEC. You're saying I can go to Malta and suddenly just launch one there, and once it is launched and established, then I could sell wherever I want.
Yeah, so there are a couple kind of interesting things going on here. First, you see a couple of different areas in the world trying to open themselves up as kind of blockchain havens. And an interesting one in the U.S. is Wyoming. So Wyoming kind of passed 5 bills more recently, or laws more recently, kind of the last few months, that basically make it the most blockchain-friendly state in America.
Wow.
So there's I believe you don't have to have a money transmitter license if it's a utility token. I believe they changed some securities law around. You don't have to pay income tax. And so there's a lot of blockchain-friendly things kind of going on over there, which is really interesting. And also series LLCs, which means that you can set up a Wyoming LLC from anywhere, basically, and kind of get taxed in that way. So there's a lot of really interesting ways people are going to get around it, and that people are going to adapt to it. But I think that, the U.S. government has not done a bad job in terms of crypto. I mean, people like to get on them a lot and give them, a hard time. But, in reality, it would be scary, right, to have a currency that fundamentally inverts part of what your responsibility is as a government. They're understandably wary of the technology, kind of from where they're sitting as kind of arbiters of fiat. I mean, they're the ones who control all money right now, right? Basically,
Well,
so.
and
And here we go. Back to controlling our breathing. Back to controlling our minds. Feel the power of your heart beating faster right now. Your heart. That's the power of determination. Your heart always knows what's best. Your heart can feel and sense things that your mind cannot. But they both need each other equally. When our minds, hearts, bodies unite, that energy, our power to determine, that's determination, who we really are. Growing our minds, our bodies, and our energy in the gym of life. Everywhere we go, everywhere we are. You have the greatest gift. You have your presence. With that presence, right here, right now, you can take it, keep using it wherever you go. To get out of your mind, sometimes your mind is playing tricks, lying to you, telling you to be afraid, telling you to give in to fear, to anxiety, to stress, to become sad and depressed. No, that's a lie. We are determination. We're made of truth, like everyone in this universe. Truth principles. And those truth principles, that stuff you're made of, I'm made of, that determination, that never ends. That always chooses courage. That always determines courage, determines faith, determines love, positivity, being kind, generous, being grateful. That's what we were all born to do, no matter what. With that, we can overcome anything our mind tries to do to us. Don't forget, you are the boss of your mind, and your mind is the boss of your body. And so if you control your mind, you will control your body. And more importantly, your feelings. Because your feelings are connected to your thoughts. And you control your thoughts. So if you can control your thoughts, your mind, you can be your true, happy, infinitely intelligent self all the time, not just now, no matter what. And that's why I love you, everything, and all of us. We are determined nation. We proved it today, right here, right now, and we can prove it all the time by simply enjoying the process of what we do wherever we are. I love you. I love you so much, everyone. Have a great day, a great moment, a great week, and a great life always. Love you. Until the next time.